Good time of the day to you, ladies and gents. This is your captain speaking. I'm in boat brew. As usually, some standard action in a bit of unusual format. Basically, playtesting a couple tier 1 decks from standard over Skype. In the small window, that's me on Mardu vehicles, and the big scene is the black-green energy aggro from a teammate. And let's start the action, more or less. So we want to give our decks proper shuffling and so on. Now rolling the dice for whoever goes first. He rolled for me 7, I think, and then for himself a bit more. Just make it be easier and faster. Him being on the play is a huge deal, because basically your main plan with vehicles against black-green aggro is just to try to outrace them as fast as possible, and winning the dice roll is just insanely important. They don't really have 1-drops apart from sometimes occasional Oath of Nissa, and then of course they do have 2 drops, and they probably should mulligan it until they get some of them. At least maybe a 2-drop like Grasp of Darkness just to slow me down, but at least something. Okay, so no, actually I was on the play here at this game, but it seems like I don't have a 1-drop myself, which is very bad for me. With 10 1-drops in the deck, that's pretty huge. He starts off just with a Quagmire. I had a Courtyard, so basically most likely can cast whatever next turn. See, now that you actually see that I'm on the play here, I have a chance, and I do have basically the best 2-drop, possibly in the Heart of Kiran, that I can crew up next turn and smash in for 4, but things can get out of control pretty quickly here. All depends on his draws. So yeah, because this is let's say high energy build, energy version, so he plays a tune with effort in the deck. Just make sure that he draws all the lands he needs and the right colors. And also the 2 energy is pretty important because he does have the rampages in the deck as well. That is those 3-4 elephants. So he has 2 energy here. Now he just casts the rampages, so I believe 0 energy in the pool. So I'm facing down the 3-4 now. Pretty solid development for him. This is no Giant Energy, this is straight black-green. Basically I need some free power creatures or a collection of those. Spire of Industry is helpful. I always keep on forgetting that it actually costs you a life point to use it for a colored mana. That's pretty important. It's pretty easy to miss those triggers. You assume that it's amazing, it's like Glimmer Void, but it's not. A bit of controlling role here. Disintegration on the Rampage and deal free. I think that means that I just have a pretty, slow hand. And I don't want him to kind of get out of hand. I have a threat already out on the table that I just need to crew up with. I should be at 19 here just because of Spire, because I used red for Unlicensed. Okay, he has 1 energy in the pool now, and that's a Ballista for just 1. So no 3rd land, I think. No, oh no, he just played the 3rd land actually. But yeah, that's not an amazing turn free play. Maybe he will have an Rishkar next turn or something. That'll be annoying. But actually Ballista stops me from playing 1 toughness guys like Toolcraft basically and Motorist. One of the reasons why Ballista is pretty sick in this matchup. Also helps to kill Gideons and occasional Chandras out of the sideboard. Okay, that's the Scrounger. So now I can attack for 4 with the heart. But then if he draws a land, he can put an extra counter in the Ballista, attack for 2 for example, and then use those counters to... okay, actually, never mind. Fatal Push actually deals with the heart. Pretty good draws on his side, I would say. He's presenting some friends and actually some interaction. This motorist is pretty sad here, especially if he draws a 4th land, untapped one of course. It could be a Quagmire. I guess I just didn't have better plays that turn. And then it kind of occupies his turn if he decides to just charge up the Ballista. But then he gets to keep it and do something like that turn after that. So that could be a thing. So yeah, charges it up, takes off 1 counter to kill the motorist. Smashes for 1. Now I can't play any more 1 toughness guys into it because he can just also repeat the same thing next turn. On the plus side, yes, it does occupies his whole turn, but it does seem like I'm running out of gas sort of. I can of course bring back the Scrounger to keep on bashing with the heart. No, heart is gone, I just have a Scrounger in play, right? So that's another courtyard, tap lands, not amazing. Playing with Pain, another motorist just to try to dig for Gideons, for example, that would be pretty ideal here, I guess, unless he would join into another untapped land in the Gear Hulk. Then I'd be in a bit of a trouble. But yeah, it's pretty unfavorable matchup. Plus, when you get this kind of clunky draws, it's extra annoying. One thing I noticed is that most players who play the deck advised me that you have to log until you get a solid 1-2-3 curve out. So it's actually a lot of the time worth it to ship back a kind of okay-ish decent hand, but the one that is not aggressive or fast enough, because if you hit slow draws, it's pretty impossible to win pretty much any matchup across the power rankings. So I'm still undecided what I want to play for the regional PTQ. Don't have many options and running out of time as well. I think I've recorded it basically a few days ago, still during this week, and yeah, I just wanted to see like how bad the matchup is against Black Green, and then some days later actually experienced it during regular events, how horrible it is sometimes. Because if you hit like solid 1-2-3s and some mix of removal with disintegration or pushes, then of course you can quickly get ahead. But even if when you mulligan, you can, let's say, just run out of steam pretty quickly if they also draw an interactive hand with Ballista and push. Or they could go the classical snake into Rishkar into Gear Hulk, and then you're like, what am I doing with my life? If you don't draw an interactive hand, then you're done. You're just done. Because a lot of builds of Black Green also now run Harvester, that is super annoying, especially if they animate it and put counters from Hulk or Rishkar onto it, and then you can like barely ever attack. Okay, that's Hulk happening. for Ballista, and yeah, he can attack first, I think. Or what? It was a 5-5, so I think it's better just to attack first. It's a big, yeah, I think, like, why not? He actually decided to first shoot it and then attack, which is kind of weird. Because, okay, then I can jump it, but then I don't think it's threat relevant. And then he would still have one more counter on Ballista. Okay, some builds run build to last, but he can respond to that. And yeah, I do like that build to last in Mardu. It's kind of like your Blossom in defense, in a way. And yeah, Metallica Rebuke out of the sideboard for Mardu seems kind of sweet against a lot of different decks, because it's mainly for Jeskai, where you not necessarily need it. And Carstens basically wrote in his article that Blue Splash, it just hurts your mana base so much so that you can't cast Planeswalkers, and you don't really need it that much. But I don't know, to me it seems like if you can, you should rather like go with the fourth color. So I have a PNLR with Scrounger, but he has a Snake and acting Ballista, and now he's just gonna activate Ballista and put 2 counters there instead of 1. Shut down my board, attack with the team and stuff like that. So yeah, we're entering the misery stage here, basically. Whatever I cast here doesn't matter. And even though, as I know, and John Furble guys told also that, okay, you side in sometimes Fumigates against Black-Green and extra Planeswalker and extra removal, but then Black-Green can kind of do the same. I mean, not necessarily mass removal, but more removal in the Planeswalkers. And then Fumigate is actually not that insane, but I don't know, I like the card in this matchup a lot. Just I like the card really a whole lot against Black-Green. Not so much against Mardu, but if you're a Jeskai player, then you'll take it. I mean, it gains you life, it puts me down to vehicles, which is of course not ideal for Jeskai, but okay. And then I could just sometimes top deck a land instead of a creature to crew up, and then after Fumigate he might as well just draw more removal and stuff like that, more Harness Lightnings. So yeah, I guess Black-Green, okay, they could have Nissa free 5 mana Nissas of Nixilis and stuff like that. But then again, you'll have your Gideons and Chandras to grind this out as well. But yeah, at one daily event not so long ago, I bumped into turn 3 singleton Liliana off of Black-Green that basically stopped my whole aggression, and I had to pressure that for a long time, and maybe I shouldn't, but my draws were also pretty slow, so I wasn't actually, you know, gonna be effective with a fast game plan. That's game number 2. Must warn you that all of these are without sideboarding, after which a lot of things change. Just that a friend of mine was just assembling this Black-Green energy deck not so long time ago, very recently, so he didn't figure out his sideboard yet, and he like also didn't have it. It was either in the post or he needed to pick it up from friends. So yeah, he just had no time to assemble a main deck. And I don't know, Black-Green Aggro is of course pretty nice, but in the meta I've played in for the last couple of weeks, there were so many Sahili decks, also for color ones as well. And yeah, it's rock, paper, scissors. But what I'm saying is that there should be more delirium versions, like heavy black-green, that can fight basically anybody from the trifecta. And all the random decks as well, because it might lose to some, I don't know, random rogue mono red or something just because of the speed. And how Fatal Push is not as amazing against that deck, and unlike against Hard to Kieran, for example. Okay, Attuned Aver gets a second forest to his hand. So I started off with the Inspector into Kloof off of the red-white fastland. We basically changed gears, so it's not just according to who lost the previous game. Turn to Ballista on 1 is not amazing, but stops Motorist and Toolcrafts. It doesn't necessarily mean that he would do that, but I don't know. Perhaps if I would cast Motorist here out of madness, then he would probably eat up Ballista to deal with that. Just a Scrounger and pass. Now with Scrounger and Spire I can at least cast anything, if I had more lands in hand this game. Turn 3 Harvester basically means that I'm not gonna attack anytime soon, unless I draw something like Disintegration or something like that. Of course, ideal will be something like third land, attack of the Scrounger, he animates Harvester perhaps, and then I draw like a Fatal Push or something. That would be ideal. It's my own Scrounger, not the worst, but it's not really advancing me that much. It's rather acting as a defensive play, so that he doesn't start chipping at me with the Harvester. I think if Harvester didn't actually give energy, maybe it wouldn't be played so much in such black-green variants. But yeah, one of the main reasons to play it is to block the heart, I suppose. Other than that, it's not spectacular. And if you're playing Mardu, in most of the matchups you're taking out one Harvester, if not both. So even Arlax, in his report from GP Pittsburgh, he's been saying that like he was largely underimpressed by the card, at least in Mardu, but I suppose it's quite okay against Mardu, to be frank. Here's Motorist, but now he can actually, you know, charge up the Ballista and kill Motorist and still keep the Ballista alive. Basically for me it's just a Scry 2 and kinda time walk him in a way. That's fine. So yeah, beginning of combat, and he should have actually shut down the Motorist before that. That's what he's gonna do, or was it end of turn? I guess I just calculated that I didn't have good attacks at all there. So yeah, he's playing a slow control-ish game, and it's working out fine for him so far. Our local big weekend standard for like what 27 players actually had a bunch of those Mardu decks in the top 8, but it was a very random meta for that event, and I don't know. In my opinion, you have to draw really well to do well with Mardu. I guess one of the reasons why my last standard tournament before the regional worked out the way it was because there were lots of Mardu, and I didn't actually get to play mirror matches that day, and a bunch of people just were unlucky enough against that deck, and maybe just playing mirror matches or just playing more of Sahili decks. I don't know. There were quite a few rogue decks as well, but the kind of rogues that are actually quite decent right now, like Mono Black Eldrazi and stuff like that. Just slamming down a couple of Scroungers just to have more meat, but he's basically controlling me every turn with those ballistas, just keep on charging them up and cleaning up my board and keeping me away from attacking, just keeping up the harvester to block mine and stuff like that. This can't really get through if I don't draw like any interaction, so that's why I'm probably a big advocate of 3 to 4 fatal push in Mardu. You can always side them out. They're actually quite okay against 4 color Sahili. They're not that good against Jeskai, but well, fine. It's a sacrifice, but I think it's fine just to increase your win percentage for all the creature matchups. So I don't know, like whether I want to play Reservoir or Mardu at regional. Probably don't want to play Jeskai or 4 color decks because run out of the time, and I would have too much space to mess it up. With Mardu, if you have good draws, there's not much that can stop you. Of course, with any Sahili variant, you can sometimes just have free wins by going turn for a combo if they tap out, or just don't have an answer. Sometimes I think it's justifiable just to try to go for it, kind of gamble, whether they have an answer or not. They could have a fatal push in hand, but no way to activate Revolt. Black-green, of course, doesn't have that much of an issue between, I don't know, does it run Evolving Wells or not? Well, 4 ballistas actually help with that plan. In Mardu, to activate its instant speed, you have the clues, but that's kinda it. Well, you can sacrifice Staff with PNLR, that's also a way to activate fatal pushes. Yeah, he continues to basically slow me down as hell with those ballistas, just charge and shoot down stuff. No, he has a cup, that doesn't matter that much, but well, he does have a bit of spare energy, I believe, at least 2, because he didn't really block with the harvester yet, and now he's even going with more energy, something like 5, I think? Or 4 at least. So he still has 4 up to charge up the ballista. One of those 3, which is a kind of weird draw, but I'm not sure what I would prefer more, that or just to snake into Rich Curry into Hulk. I don't know what's actually worse than this. Probably not drawing a solid hand is kinda annoying here. Drew a shock for one of the ballistas, probably gonna shoot down one that's with 1 counter, because if I target the one with 2, he can just put it up to 3. He can shoot at my face. There are no good targets right now. It's just a triple Scrounger and an Inspector. No clue. I'm running out of gas and have to try to be aggressive, but I can't really. Don't even remember now how he killed my own Harvester while just sharing a bunch of neighboring thoughts and experiences with you. Scroungers coming in just because they can't block and I can return them back. So yeah, I think what he does is just charge up one of the ballistas to 3 and shuts down one Scrounger. Then he can crew up with the Cob and block it. Block another Scrounger. Or he can also like put a counter on the Cob. He doesn't have a Snake though. And he should be tapped out here, by the way. We're just shortcutting here, technically. Okay, he had 5 energy, so he just put 2 counters on the Cub to block one of the Scroungers instead of using the Harvester. Or no, I think he just actually created up with a Ballista, so he could have, yeah, he blocked both. And lost all the Scroungers in the world. And I'm feeling pretty grumpy right now. Okay, 2 of them back, but what does it matter with this board? So, yeah. I don't know why I'm still continuing this game, but no. Just maybe to see what kind of draws I could get. One Shark main deck is perfectly justifiable, but probably not more than that. Pushes are probably more vital than that, but one is okay. It's not really that bad, but you probably don't want to draw multiples main deck. In this situation, I would definitely take any amount of shocks or pushes, that's for sure. Because this does look kind of green. Definitely. Alright. Never tune, that doesn't matter a whole lot, but it makes his Cub bigger. That's the thing. Now he gets to land down a Rampage, a vanilla 3/4. Yeah, and at this point I pack it in because I have no good draws here. There's nothing like a main deck Fumigate. And that would be kind of a spicy tech if you anticipate a very aggro meta with Mardu and Black-Green. Just nobody expects Fumigate main deck, that's for sure. I mean, you know that just because a healer plays that. But it could just to, you know, catch so many people off guard. That could sometimes be a recipe for you to win a tournament. Or let's say a, I don't know, main deck Anguished and Making or something like that. Or a Stasis Snare. To deal with opponents, Saheeli's Nahiri or Gideon, something like that. Game number 3 here. It's because I have to decide what things change, and I think the matchup becomes much better for Mardu. Just because of Remova's Planeswalkers and Fumigates. And of course Sky Sovereign, which is insane. I've been playing with one Avis and one flagship, but I could see running just 2 flagships. Avacyn is also nice, but then probably if you run in the sideboard some one or two Selfless Spirit, then maybe you don't need Avacyn and much or have second flagship. Let's just say that flagship across the variety of matchups does much more than Avacyn. And I don't think flagship is actually bad against Jeskai either. It's especially good against, of course, 4 colors a heal, but that's a much more creature-centric deck. But I don't know, I think there is an argument to bring it in even against Jeskai. Just a big way to raise that doesn't necessarily die to lightning. So he went down to 19 from my attack of the Inspector. Quagmire, turn 1 from him. And yeah, my second land is the red-white manland, the double strike one. So not ideal, but not the end of the world yet. Turn 2 Ballista for 1. Also not ideal, because it's much better when you have a snake on turn 2 instead of Ballista. But who knows, maybe his next turn is a Rishkar, for example. So thinking about my turn 3 here. And that's a Courtyard. And that's a push on Ballista. Maybe a bit preemptive. And that's Motorists. So yeah, well, probably the right order. But then if he draws another Ballista, I would be pretty annoyed. Or similar stuff. Inspector, he's down to 18. I have board, I have a clue to pair it up with another push, etc. There is a cub. He has, what is it, 1 energy now? So he can't pump it up quite yet now. Just passing the turn. But if the cub connects at least once, I might be in the trouble. I believe that's a shock for a cub. But he has a defense to protect it. But it's probably good that I did it on my turn, because now I won't have to play around that. Of course, there could be a second one. But because it's not only +2/+2, but also hexproof, that means that you can't really attack into it right now, because it actually didn't receive any damage. Another Inspector, but that's not a huge help here. Free mana. Rishkar it is. So Cub now is now 3/3. So yeah, things are not that bad yet. So there are of course still left some good draws for me, but he hasn't a push to get rid of Motorist, and things are spiraling down here pretty quickly. There's an argument to actually jump here, so that he doesn't get more energy and the cub doesn't grow to ridiculous size. Cracking the clue to draw into anything useful here. Basically, if it would be post-Aggro games, then I would be able to, you know, do something like 5th lands, which hopefully would have been untapped, and then cast a flagship and shoot down the cub. But unfortunately, it's a tapped 5th land and just another inspector and a harvester. That's not quite gonna do it. It may just stem the bleeding a little bit if he doesn't have more removal. Okay, it's a Hulk coming down. Didn't have another land, but he had the risker ability. So he's now just thinking how to distribute it. Probably wants to put at least one onto the cub, if not two, so that it can go through the harvester. And then perhaps two more on the... okay, he actually went 1-1-2, 2 on the cub. Yeah, I could see that. The only important thing is just to put 2 on the cub so that it can go through harvester. And yeah, caravan would have been much better than the harvester. And yeah, read out the Frank Carson's article on Channel Fireball for the deck. And also Andrea Gucci's article on the deck. They have some disagreements, I think, with a few points, but yeah, I think both agree that Caravan is much better than Harvester in this matchup. I think I jumped through at the end of the turn. Something like that. Play the Toolcraft, or what the heck. Maybe I just played another Inspector and cracked the clue immediately, or something like that. Anyways, not particularly great draws, just more lands and stuff, and yeah, I'm running out of resources while he's beefing up the team even more. So, I think you guys already see the writing on the wall. Thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe, check out the links in the description below, and yeah, this is how apparently the matchup works game 1, unless you draw like nuts. Feel free to leave any feedback in the comment section below. I would totally appreciate that, because if this Mardu wasn't actually mine, but I do run Aggro, which is kinda similar to that, so I would enjoy any recommendations. Okay, until the next sale, goodbye folks.